Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Saturday, July 30th, 2016. Significant fire potential impacts are expected across the Great Basin for the next few days. For today, that moisture from the south continues to move northward throughout northern Nevada, northern Utah, and even up into southern Idaho and western Wyoming for isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms. These storms will be a mix of wet and dry, with the drier storms located further north. And given the extremely dry fuel conditions we have going into this event, we are expecting to see a fair amount of new initial attack and the potential for new large fires. Increased wind speeds will also move into the Great Basin starting today in western Nevada and moving through northern Nevada and into Idaho for Sunday through Tuesday. Lightning activity spread throughout the state of Nevada yesterday afternoon and even into the late evening hours. Precipitation amounts were very light with this system, with the bulk of the precipitation occurring across the south. Here's a look at the current fire activity across the Great Basin. The large fires across the north continue to grow, and a few new initial attack fires were observed across Nevada and southwest Utah. Current ERCs remain very high across the region, although over the next few days we will see these values stabilize and come down somewhat in many of the areas, as we will see an increase in relative humidity and some areas will see some precipitation. For today, however, many areas are still very critical. The northern Utah mountains are setting new records for the time of year, well above the 97th percentile, and areas in northern Nevada are also very high. This morning's water vapor imagery shows that moisture having moved up into the central portions of the Great Basin, and this is where we'll see that lightning activity. With the high pressure still centered pretty close to the Great Basin, temperatures will be very high once again, with triple-digit readings across many of the northern valleys. Widespread significant fire potential triggers have been issued for today for that lightning that's expected over the northern half of the Great Basin. There are some stronger winds moving into western Nevada today. We've highlighted for that. This wind could be especially troublesome in the wake of some of the lightning we've had there in the last few days and the ongoing fire activity. Forecasts from the National Weather Service show the coverage of the isolated to widely scattered thunderstorms that are expected over the Great Basin today. Pretty much most areas should be able to see some thunderstorms, except for maybe far western Nevada and far western Idaho. Wind speeds will be highest today over eastern Idaho, western Nevada, and portions of southern Utah. Of course, any of the thunderstorms that pop up today could have very strong outflow winds, especially the drier type thunderstorms. By Sunday, a low pressure system moving into southern Canada will bring drier air back into the northern third of the Great Basin, decreasing thunderstorm activity across the north, but also bringing strong winds to Idaho, which will be especially troublesome in the wake of the lightning activity that's expected there today. Lightning activity will continue over much of Utah, western Wyoming, and even portions of eastern Nevada. Some of the storms will begin to moisten up, especially over the south. Decreasing coverage of those thunderstorms is shown here for Sunday afternoon, where Idaho and northern Nevada will already begin to dry out. Holdovers are expected to pop up on Sunday as some of the gustier winds move in, along with drier conditions. On Monday, a secondary low drops off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. This will continue to allow gusty winds to move into Idaho and much of western and northern Nevada. Some moisture remains for continued thunderstorm activity over southern Nevada and southern Utah. The strongest winds on Monday are expected to be over western and northern Nevada and up into Idaho, especially over the eastern Idaho mountains. Western Wyoming could also see some pretty gusty winds. 3-day precipitation accumulation is expected to be highest over the mountains of southern Utah, with points further northward and westward not seeing a whole lot of precipitation. On Tuesday, that low moves inland across the northern Rockies, which will keep those stronger winds in place, particularly over Idaho. By Wednesday, the pressure gradient lessens and we should see winds decreasing somewhat over the area. Some moisture will still keep thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon across southern Nevada and southern Utah, while we'll have drier conditions to the north. On Thursday, increasing southerly flow associated with a little shortwave possibly moving across the central Great Basin will allow some moisture to move further north into central Nevada and central Utah. It's possible on Friday some of that moisture could move further north into northern Utah and even up into southern portions of Idaho for another round of some isolated thunderstorms up there. The 7-day precipitation accumulation is shown here with some pretty good amounts expected over the time frame, especially over southern Utah. That's the area that will see the greatest chance for a good wetting rain. Elsewhere across the geographic area, especially in western northern Nevada and much of southern Idaho, it's going to remain very dry. The extended outlook for the second week of August continues to call for above normal temperatures across the Great Basin, with below normal precip across the north and maybe a little bit of a better signal for some moisture, mostly across southern Utah. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.